那就是 Richmond Hill 的联邦国会议员马蒂的先生马万里先生，大家掌声欢迎。
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Maji Johari, and my Chinese name, as you heard, is Ma Wanli, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. First of all, Daijahao, it's great to be here. Carmen asked me to come and have a conversation around the topic that's been lately picked up in the Chinese Canadian community, and it's been around for a long time in Canada, and it's also picking prominence in various parts of the world. Somebody doing the translation, or keep going? You gotta talk a bit loud.
首先，马万里国会议员非常高兴能来到这儿见到大家，然后听你们来的这个 discussion。然后呢，他是因为现在在加拿大，你知道那个同性恋也是合法化了已经，然后所以这个群体也在不停的越来越壮大，所以呢，他也是来到这边跟大家 say hi， 然后跟大家说一说现在的政府都有些哪些相关的政策是跟那个同性恋和 LGBTQ 组织相关的。
First of all, I commend you for coming together on a Sunday afternoon and wanting to engage and wanting to get an understanding of what is LGBTQ plus and wanting to get educated, and you want it to be in an environment that's safe, you're comfortable, and you're among friends.
因为现在那个关于 LGBTQ2Q plus，right？ 然后现在在这边大家也讨论了很多的问题，然后包括很多的嘉宾也是。我们今天想要跟大家也是可以分享一些政府在这个关于这个团体的他们的安全方面，以及有一些什么样的政策方面，也是跟大家做一个分享。
Also like to thank Carmen for taking leadership on many profiles, not only on the LGBTQ2+, but also some of the other elements such as mental health, such as youth, that really come as a result of individuals that are categorized as part of this category and coming out, and they want to be able to feel that they're contributing, they're loved, they're safe, and they have the support of the community.
就是我们在来到这儿呢，然后不光也只是share 这个关于 LGBTQ2+ 这个社区的一些政策，同时呢，因为那个他是这个 Richmond Hill 这个区的国会议员，然后我们有很多政策是关于心理健康，以及跟那个 youth 是一些比如说青少年，他们也是属于这个团体的人，然后我们也有很多帮助他们的一些政府的 funding， 然后以及帮助他们的一些政策，也是我们希望可以 share 给大家。
So on the few minutes that I have, I'm going to try to cover about 3 topics for you. One is I want to talk about the cultural aspect of this. How do we culturally deal with it? The other one is around some of the legislation that the government and some of the initiatives that the government has put together to be able to support this. And the third one, I really want to talk about how can we make a much more safer and inclusive community, which is very strong, but very open into concepts such as LGBTQ+.
就首先我们会聊到说，我们今天想要说3个方面的问题。第一个就是来聊聊就是 LGBTQ， 然后第二个就是我们想聊一聊就是我们在这方面提供的一些真正的政策，然后第3个就是说我们怎么样建立一个这样的一个社区，就是可以很包容，然后不光只是 LGBTQ 组织，以及像类似的这种一些 minority 的一些社团对不对？
So I'm going to try to break it in a very simple language, because this is the language that I like to talk and the way I understand. First of all, let's acknowledge that being categorized or being fall into the family of LGBTQ2+ is not a medical or is not a problem that is within an individual. It's just the way it is. The same way that my hair is black, the same way that my eye is black, the same way that my skin is somewhere between white and gray. It's just that's the way the genetically is, and it's not a sickness. It's not the same thing as the mental health. If somebody is dealing with mental health, it's not. There's nothing wrong with being feeling that you belong to the LGBTQ2+ family. You're still a human being. There's still blood running through your veins. You still are an amazing individual. You still deserve to be loved. You still deserve to love. You still deserve to live in an environment that you command respect, and everybody should respect you. You should feel free that you could do anything you want to do, and anybody. We should be proud of it. We should be saying that we are proud to be part of this community and understand this community. The same way that we come to Canada, and I think nowhere in the world this could better understood than somewhere in Canada, because we all come from different cultures. Canada is an immigrant-based country. We come from different cultures, we come from different backgrounds, and we come from different ideology. Therefore, Canada as a whole, with the concept of multiculturalism, with the concept of inclusivity, truly is a country who can embrace, and it has embraced, and it has legalized same-sex marriage since early 2000s, and it's fostering it. Now, it's up to us as a community to come in and educate, break the stigma, and be comfortable to talk about it and support all stakeholders that are involved in this.
我打断一下 ，sorry， 大家不懂的请举一下手，就是他刚才讲的这个，我们需要翻译的举一下手。现在 OK 呀，能快速给他翻译一下就行。
那我就长话短说，就是说因为这个 LGBTQ 组织，我们觉得就是成为这个人群，它是没有任何问题的。然后我们也就是它就像我的那个黑色的头发、黑色的眼睛，就像我的皮肤的颜色一样，它就是这么的自然。它可能就是你先天性，它就是这样的一个人。然后你们应该感到为自己也感到骄傲，你们能够站出来，然后为这个群体发声。然后同时我们那个国家也有很多政策，然后包括像现在我们那个已经合法化了，然后这也是一个非常好的一个环境，能让大家来探讨这个问题。
So culturally, I come from Iran. I was born in Iran. I left Iran 40 years ago. I came here, and I've lived here for about 41 years. And most of you come from either mainland China or Hong Kong, or are from Chinese descent. Culturally, we were not comfortable in talking about this. We may have acknowledged it, but if we talked about it in the closed rooms, and we talked about it. Usually parents, especially the mothers, were much easier to accept and embrace, and fathers closed their eyes and may or may not have accepted it. But today, with the whole notion that we live in a country that we embrace, and now we are gathering together to be able to talk about this, and also realizing that, you know what, if you actually close your eyes and start thinking, I'm sure one or two of someone that's within your close circle can identify themselves as LGBTQ2+. And the fact that we are comfortable talking about it, and the fact that we want to understand it's very important. It is easy for me to stand up here and talk about certain aspects, such as culturally, I come from a different culture. I lived in Canada. I'm very open. I'm embracing it. But again, I don't think it does just a service for me to be able to represent how they feel. Or and I keep using the word they because again, LGBTQ+, they identify gender in a very different way, and it's much more inclusive than the way we typically identify gender as a male or a female. And we need to accept that, we need to embrace it, and we need to find the right terminology for it, so people like me are much more comfortable calling it rather than he or she. But culturally, we've also evolved. even if you go back and you look at, I recently came back from China, and I haven't been to Iran for a long time, but from the people that they're coming and talking to me, even the older cultural part is now embracing, and it's willing to talk about it. Now, we are in a country that we are so blessed that we can have open conversation like this and invite those who consider themselves as part of LGBTQ to come and share their experience. But I can share my experience as a father, I can share my experience as a partner to my wife, and I can share my experience as someone who during their schooling year had a roommate that was considered as part of the LGBTQ. I have colleagues that there are LGBTQ. As you know, I'm a member of parliament, so in the government of Canada, there are many members that are very comfortable coming out, and they have the support of the caucus, naturally the Prime Minister and the country in working together. So as a colleague, we embrace this, and we think that let's say diversity strengthens us. As a father and as a husband, this is something that you always think. If you think parents don't talk about these things, because you always say, oh, is it possible? You know, is it possible that something like that, or is it possible that he or she might have certain tendency? And you need to be ready to be able to listen. You need to be ready to be able to love. You need to be able to make sure that you are there to support. And they're also, they need to feel that they're comfortable to come to us. And I think the most important thing is what does all of these, it provides a much more inclusive and most importantly a safe community that the LGBTQ2 family can feel safe, comfortable, come out, talk about it, and feel that there is as equal opportunity for them to be able to grow, contribute, and be prosperous, because honestly, there is no difference. The difference is as simple as having a different color hair or having a different facial texture, etc. I know I talked a lot, so we'll let some translation go.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. 那么就是呢，我也长话短说，就是他首先就是提到您那个不太明白他的意思的话，就是他就是提到了，就是说因为像现在以前这个话题可能是比较禁忌的，大家都不会在公开场合谈论到。可是现在来到这儿，然后呢，大家都可以甚至坐到一块儿，成立这样的一个社团来讨论这样的一个话题。然后呢，政府也经常会在各方面讨论到，比如说我们是该叫这个人叫他是男的他还是女的他，是怎么去界定这个事情。然后我们也在做了很多的，在这方面做了很多的工作。然后呢，同时包括像现在在这样一个非常公开的一个环境里面，甚至我们很多的在国会里面的一些议员们啊，或者是一些工作人员，他们自己也是属于这个团体，然后他们也很自豪的、很公开的可以站出来代替的这个团体，然后同时他们也可以把他们的事务做得很好。然后呢，主要就是这个，大概是这样的。
Okay, so let's go quickly talk about the second piece, which is like what the government has done. Aside from the legislative piece that, same-sex marriage has been legalized since early 2000, what the government, especially the government of the Liberal government in 2015, first of all, it created a secretariat. And the goal of the secretariat is to make sure that the office of the Prime Minister and the government has advisors on the topic of LGBTQ+. And these advisor roles are to make sure that they are the conduit between the government and the community. So they have a direct channel to be able to share their concerns, share their challenges, and share the desires, and for us to understand how can we be a much more inclusive government and inclusive society.
现在就是我们就是到了第二步，刚刚我们说的第二个部分，就是说现在在政府是怎么跟这个社团做进行一个联系的呢？我们是怎么样把你们的声音带到国会的呢？就是因为我们中间有类似于像我们有这样的秘书处和这样的一个组织在中间，然后呢是社团直接跟中间这个组织进行联系，然后呢把这些意见然后再反映到政府，是这样的一个过程。
Also, the government has introduced a number of legislation and different grants for labor development and economic development, especially to make sure that the labor laws also protect the right of the LGBTQ plus community. So there is no injustices done, there is no discrimination done, because truly, as I said, it is our job to make sure that we are all part of this great nation, and no one, the same way that we don't like to be unjustly scrutinized because of the way we look, the same way that we want to make sure that the LGBTQ family feel that they are equally treated as they should so.
就是我们现在的这个部门的这个重点，就是说让这个组织可以得到一个更公平的一个以及不被歧视的这么一个，这是我们关注的一个重点。然后对，然后。
Whether it's through tourism, official languages, grants that allows visitors to come in and visit sites that or communities that they are supportive of LGBTQ or they're promoting it, to working with Foreign Affairs to be able to support LGBTQ program in other countries and also do the education, whether it's from health, whether it's from immigration and refugees, whether from international development, especially on the less developed countries. These are the different dimensions that the government is actively working on, making sure that not only they put legislation, but also they provide support inside the country and also outside the country to make sure that the message of equality is not only embraced internally to our country, but also other countries that they need to. And one of the ways to educate is by actually showcasing when visitors from other parts of the world come to our country that we are actually proud to be a country that embraces LGBTQ plus community, and we don't differentiate. Although we categorize and label, it's just they're as Canadian as us, and we're as Canadian as them, and again, the worst of us and them, it's kind of segregates, but unfortunately, I'm not that well equipped to be able to kind of be able to highlight, but we're just part of the same community.
就是其实我们在来之前，我们这个办公室其实还是非常重视这个组织，然后非常重视这个团体，然后所以呢，其实我们做了一个很长的一个 list， 就是说我们有些什么是跟这个相关，然后能够帮助到这个团体。可是因为时间有限，可能我们不能一一的说的那么细。但是比如说像我们知道的，就是除了政府的一些基本的一些资助之外，我们还有在包括他们在教育方面，然后甚至在那个旅游业方面，我们其实都有很多的拨款。然后呢，这个细节甚至如果大家真的很感兴趣的话，将来也许我们可以发给 Carmen， 或者让大家可以更多的了解到，我们就不在这细谈。然后就是说我们包括像旅游业这个方面，其实我们拨款了很多钱，是让人家知道说就是哪些地方是这个团体就是旅游比较去的多的地方，我们甚至都有拨款在这个方面。然后呢，我们也是这个目的也是因为不只要让大家在来到这里是在这个国家里面的人得到这个知识，同时也让外面的人知道我们是在做这样的一件事情，所以我们在旅游业方面也有拨款。然后所以更多的到时候我们会再给到 Carmen 让大家细看。
And the last piece is really, it's a more human aspect of it. As I said, as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a colleague, my 2 cents would be that be open to listen, because the most important thing is for most of individuals who are part of that community, when they want to come out and they want to talk, they need someone to talk to. And I think as parents, it's our fiduciary responsibility to provide that environment. As a brother, it is my fiduciary responsibility to provide that environment. As a friend, it is my responsibility to provide that environment. As a colleague, as someone who, as a human being, it is our responsibility to make sure that we provide an environment that we feel comfortable, LGBTQ community feels comfortable, that they can come and talk about it. And when they talk about it, they can feel that they're safe, because a lot of issues around, if I come back, what kind of backlash is going to be? Am I going to be still loved? Yes, you're going to be loved. Love is something that's part of the human being. So that's whether you are black or white, whether you are of this nation or that nation, loving is not going to go anywhere. So for children, feeling that they're loved, and for adults that they still feel loved and they're respected, and they are actually strength in a community. When we as a community can work together across many different dimensions, it makes our community much stronger. And when our community is much stronger, our community is also much safer. So when we as a community provide an environment that everybody can feel comfortable to live there, work there, prosper there, get their education, love and be loved, we are a much more stronger and a safer community.
就是我们不光是作为父母也好，作为孩子也好，甚至是作为工作同事也好，能够给他们提供这样一个非常有爱的这么一个环境，让他们知道这个团体的每一个人都值得被爱，然后他们是也有所有足够多的权利值得被爱，然后呢，通过这样的一种方式，也是可以让到我们的社区变得更安全和一个更和谐的一个社会，这也是我们的努力的一个方向。
So, thank you very much.
And also back to 2000, when my daughter was only 3 months, I held her, and my dad is about 62. We went to the Pride Parade. That's our first time. We're so excited to see naked people. Okay, but now we look at them a different way, because as you said, from love, from the community, from family, from everybody here who come, ignore their family at home, they just come as a family here. We're united as a community to support, to love. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
我们今天的那个 sponsor， 还有我们的协办的会员，还有我们今天 speaker， 包括我们后面的从约克警局来的2位officer， 大家欢迎。And 那个谁Raymond and Sam, Alex and Bill. Yeah, one of them. Bill 老师 ，OK。So 其他的朋友愿意上来合影的啊，都随便愿意来。Roy, do you want to come?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So I have a friend you can visibly. He's from India. Okay. Molly, you want to come? Yes. Yeah. 谁愿意来照相都可以啊，欢迎啊，因为我们这是一个千载难逢的时候啊。Okay. So I'm shorter. I'm shorter. 哎，我们再往里头点好吗 ？So sir. Sir. Yeah. I want to go, so sir. Come. 行吗？再 closer. Okay. Yeah. 对。我们先看谁？Jenny， 忘了你了，赶快上来。HSBC from HSBC, they're the sponsor. Yeah. They are the sponsor. Now you hide yourself. Oh, okay. So, okay, delete the photo you took just now. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.